my name is Kayla, and today I'm doing the top 5 books of 2016, my top 5. I only read 19 books in 2016, sadly. It was a really busy but amazing year. I started college, I went out of the country, I did lots of awesome traveling and visiting a lot of great people. I met a lot of great people, I had a lot of fun. So I did read a lot of great books too, but not quite as many as my goal was, but still an amazing year, and I did read a bunch of great books. I decided instead of doing 16, which was what I usually do, like I did my top 15 of 2015, I'm just going to do 5 so I don't have to, so it can be a shorter, kind of just my favorite books that I read. So that's what we're going to dive right into. In no particular order, I'm just going to kind of show you my favorites of 2016. One of my favorite books that I read this year is I Was Here by Gail Forman. This is the story of a girl who her best friend kills herself out of nowhere, it seems. So she goes to visit where she went to college and visits her and visits all her friends and tries to kind of piece together why she didn't know this was happening, why she didn't know she was depressed, why her friend didn't talk to her, and trying to understand why she killed herself. And she ends up going on this really emotional journey and reevaluating her life while also trying to understand her friend's life. Beautiful story. I definitely recommend it. I gave it 5 out of 5. The next book that I read and I absolutely loved is Dare You To by Katie McCrory. This is sort of a sequel to Pushing the Limits. Another amazing book by Katie McCrory. I actually got this book on. This is the story of one of the side characters in Pushing the Limits, and she was in an abusive relationship, and her mom is still in an abusive relationship, and sometimes she gets in the middle of that. She lives with her aunt and a couple of foster kids, and she struggles sort of to appreciate herself and the people she's with because she's always scared, and she gets herself into bad situations because she loves her mom and she wants to save her mom, and there's really not a way to do that. She ends up meeting a guy that's kind of the opposite. He's like this rich boy who has all these goals he wants to do, but his dad is pushing him in this one direction that he has to go towards. And they sort of meet, and it starts with a dare, and it turns out to be something that saves both of them in different ways. Amazing, beautiful, emotional book. I definitely recommend it. Beautiful story, heartbreaking, and just touches you, and it's just amazing. I'm interested in, I'm going into child psychology, and so reading about a girl who was put in the foster system and just all these kids that she lived with, and just the whole situation is just sort of shows me again what I want to change in the system as it is. And so this one not as much. Pushing Limits shows that more, but it is an amazing book, and it kind of shows some of the things that people don't talk about when people are in these situations, especially young girls and kids. And so and the story between them is amazing. They touch each other in so many great ways, and really this looks just like a romance, but it's really an emotional book about two people figuring out how to be themselves while also figuring out how to love. And it's an amazing novel. I definitely recommend it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely read Pushing the Limits first, and then another amazing novel, and you do not want to miss out on reading both of them. Katie McCrory is an amazing author. You should definitely check her out. I'll link her Amazon site down below. The next book I read is Girl Against the Universe by Paula Stokes. This is actually one that I got in uppercase. Thank you so much, uppercase. I absolutely loved it. This is the story of a girl who's pretty much terrified of everything because she's had so many let's just say bad things happen to her in her life, and so she's very terrified of bad things happening. She's lost family members, she's lost pretty much everything, and she doesn't trust anyone or herself. So she goes to therapy, and she ends up meeting this one guy who's dealing with his own issues, and she sort of starts to heal because of this therapist and having someone that she can kind of connect to on a different level. And she starts to kind of go outside of her comfort zone and realize that, you know what, it's not my fault that all these crappy things keep happening to me. Another amazing book about mental health, and just absolutely beautiful, really fun. It is a heart one again, but it's a lot more fun, and there's some laughs in there. Romance, it's just a really great book. I definitely recommend. 5 out of 5 stars. You should go check it out. If you didn't notice, I like some deep books with romance. The fourth book that I absolutely loved this year was 5 Ways to Fall by K.A. Tucker. I read 10 Tiny Breaths like 3 years ago, which is also by K.A. Tucker. Amazing novel about a girl who survived a car accident and decides to sort of run away with her little sister. Definitely recommend it. Definitely read that one before this one because it kind of ties together in different ways. You don't necessarily have to, but I would suggest it, kind of like the Pushing the Limits one. This is a story of a girl who she doesn't know her dad, and she has had a lot of stepdads in the process, and she's not close to her mom, and she has some severe trust issues, and she's kind of spent her whole life running away from things. So she ends up falling in love one night randomly and decides to get married, and it ends with her heartbroken and in jail. So her stepdad from years ago that she hadn't talked to in years decides to step in and kind of be like, here's how you can get your life on track. So she decides to go to school and start working at his law firm. And in the process, she ends up going and making some mistakes that end up leading to some good places. But pretty much it's the story of a girl figuring out the balance between not trusting and not loving and taking care of herself. It's a beautiful novel, definitely recommend it. And it's really, really fun. More of an adult novel though, so while I Was Here and Girl Against the Universe are YA novels, I Dare You To, and this one is a little bit, they're still YA, but they're a little more adult. So just a warning, great novel, definitely recommend it. You should check out K.A. Tucker. I'll also link her down below. Absolutely love everything I read by her. Very heart, just touches your heart and makes you think and makes you love. And it's beautiful stories. The stories I want to write today. And the last of my favorite books of 2016. This one's a little more controversial. I've heard bad and good things about it. I really enjoyed it just because it was kind of a more honest view on some things. It is a dark book, but Me Before You by Jojo Mays. A lot of people did not like it because it's kind of seemed to give the idea that somebody who is disabled cannot function in life. I don't think that's necessarily what the author was trying to portray. I think it's more sometimes people don't know how to move on from that, and it might not be the best decision, but sometimes that's what they decide. And so I do think some people were hurt by this novel. I thought it was really beautiful in the fact that it was heartbreaking, but it's an amazing novel, and I do recommend it. If it is not a book to be taken lightheartedly, it's about a serious issue, and it is going to make you cry, but it is also, I think, it deals on some tough topics, especially with her. There's some topics that go into, it doesn't in the movie, which really disappointed me, but some really deep things that I think should be talked about more, and I really enjoyed it. This is a story about a guy who was in a motorcycle accident, and he ended up, there's a word for it, but he loses the ability to move other than his head and sometimes his fingers. And so this English girl that just lost her job decides to work for him, even though she's had no experience caregiving, and lots of stuff happens. It is a really sad book, but it really is heartwarming and heartbreaking. But I can understand both sides of how it does sort of portray the darker of that, and that is not the answer, and that is not necessarily the thing that everyone wants to hear about. But it does talk about some tough subjects. One of the scenes in it that goes into some of her past I really enjoyed because I enjoyed because it touches again on some tough topics that need to be talked about more often. Beautiful book, really, really sad. So don't take this lightheartedly. If you want to just read a romance novel, I do not suggest this. This is an adult novel, but it is also really good. These are all the books except one that isn't here because I gave it to a friend. You should go check all these books out if you're interested. Definitely recommend this one, this one, this one, and this one. This one is amazing. This one is amazing. This one's amazing but sad. And amazing but sad. And amazing but sad. But these two are amazing and sad. Well, I just read sad books. But they're so good. They make you think and feel. Okay, I'm done now. But, oh my gosh. I can't remember now. What's it called? And I'm really looking forward to a new year with lots of fun friends. Year videos done. So right now